10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Morphling.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Prepare for battle.
Winning DAC put no doubt in many people's minds that IG would be going into this tournament as one of the favorites, but it seems that home team Virtus Pro have nothing but confidence as they go into the draft with game number 1. They just put IG on the clock with back-to-back picks. Sin, what do you make of it? It's a very unique draft for sure.
Yeah, they picked super fast. I think we've reached this point where Virtus Pro kind of know what IG are doing. IG's last couple of games have shown a certain pattern, especially when they've got this kind of opening with the Riki and the Omni Knight. So they were probably just expecting that Ember pick, and they just snap pick the Void. They've already talked about it. If they pick Ember, we pick Void. If they go for this, they might not have expected that this Morphling would be the ultimate last pick for IG, but regardless, the Venomancer was a plan that they wanted to run. This hero in mid, I think, is actually very strong in a lot of games, and obviously a great tower pusher early on, just spamming out those Plague Wards and forcing enemies to stay in position, so else they lose their buildings. And if VP can set up their AoE teamfight, they have a lot of damage, let's put it that way, and a lot of control, so
They definitely have some combinations there, but it's not like IG is going to be unfamiliar with the Venomancer, right? The Chinese team were running quite a lot of Veno mid leading into DAC, so at least they'll have that experience. And it does seem like, we were kind of talking about it before, we both felt like IG was coming into this one, they just looked a little bit cleaner, let's say, but we did also say they've kind of shown two like very distinct strategies that they're super good with, and feels like many of the teams are going to be coming in pretty confident, pretty well prepared to deal with that. Looking at VP's lineup, you agree with what they've got here? Do you think that, for example, the Faceless Void counterpick to the Ember Spirit, do you think that is the appropriate response?
I think it's pretty good overall. I do see a couple of issues though. As far as teamfight goes, VP obviously looking great, but their lineup isn't particularly good at skirmishing. They don't have the greatest tools against Riki apart from the Spirit Breaker, which is of course really, really great early on. And in addition to that, they don't actually have any counters to Morphling. I don't consider Void a real counter actually.
XXS is going to be dove underneath the tower. No, VP gonna back away from that one. Didn't have the time walk up anymore.
Who was it IG played against yesterday where they ran this 5th pick Morphling as well and eventually just got out of hand? I think that was against Team Liquid. Wasn't that the matchup they had? I believe so. Where they also had Morphling as the last pick of the entire draft or of their team, and eventually Burning just took over the game.
It's kind of their
VP
replacement
needs to be wary of,
right?
In a way, yes, but the hero is just... In some games, I think Morphling is just in that territory where you feel like, okay, we have 0 counters. If this goes late, we will have a really big problem. Spectre always feels like there's more of a solution most of the time built in that you can either, take some good mid-game team fight so that you can itemize correctly. Morphling can definitely be itemized against, but when you look at VP's lineup, they would have rather faced the Spectre. I'll guarantee that.
Yeah, for sure. VP So far, it looks like the laning phase is actually going pretty well for OP here in the mid lane. He's picking up a lot of CS, and, well, looks like I cursed him there, misses out on the range creep. But for the most part, he seems to be winning the CS battle with the Venomancer. Of course, this gets harder, right? Level 4, level 5, Veno starts taking over a bit, right?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see this matchup play out, actually. I don't think I've seen it too much. Honestly, don't feel like Ember should be doing this well either early on. Don't know how many of his CS are Plague Ward's actually 0 because he hasn't skilled it, so can't really be not the case, but so Veno obviously going for this more combat-oriented build, we could call it. We might see no one wait with the Plague Wards and focus a lot more on leveling up the lane harass through both Gale and Sting, which can break down the Flame Guard, but for now doesn't really have enough to deal with this, and he is pretty far from his bottle with this Boots first pickup. He might have to go Shrine soon.
Oh, but they do have a setup on OP. Lil's going to start body blocking him with his invis. OP know what's up, but he is going to be dove here. Does manage to get the chains out onto no one. Underneath the tower, though, Solo comes in for the dive, and they do manage to pick up that first blood. Bulbaka, he's here to provide some assistance, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get a return kill.
Very nice play there from Lil. Good job identifying that this is a possible kill. Good job on the body block. Good job on rolling an Invis rune. Very nice.
Well done, Lil. Well done. You said like VP skirmishing power, right? They've got big team fights and long cooldown abilities, but skirmishing not really the greatest. This is where we need our Spirit Breaker to be able to kind of set the tempo for the early game, and Solo has definitely done that so far with a kick in the Omni Knight out of lane was a nice touch, and then being able to get that first blood in the mid lane. We'll see what else he can accomplish in the next 10 minutes, though, because I feel like there's a decent amount of burden on his back.
There is. He got a very fast level 3, though, so Spirit Breaker is a kind of hero who can snowball pretty hard in the support role. If you get a fast level 6, suddenly a lot of kills that were previously unavailable on the map become not too difficult to execute. But once again, he doesn't have the best pairings, right? Like, oh, no one's in trouble.
He missed out on that slow. They're going to be able to get the smoke screen over the top of him. Very easy kill. Lil's going to be far too late to be able to provide the heal. In fact, he's got to stop that one. Vengeful Spirit threatening a response there. Q could have dove into the tower and potentially gone for the magic missile stun, so forced to back away there. And honestly, they can rotate as much as they want on the side of IG. It's not like Morphling is going to be too afraid of a Magnus 1v1.
Not when you have a head start like this, should be perfectly fine. XSS, yeah, well.
Time walk it off, Ramses.
The Bash Brothers, not enough luck.
XXS is either going to have a fantastic lane or he's going to get real unlucky and die sometime soon. Looks like Pasha might feel more comfortable doing a little bit of jungling here, but Bulbaka snacked the bounty rune away from him, so no jungling for Magnus.
Pasha does see it getting picked up now, though, so he at least gets information. If the rune is gone, you don't know when Ricky took it. It's 5 minutes in, so he could have been there earlier. At least now they know for a little bit. They can predict Ricky's movements, perhaps. But all in all, this early game, I would say accomplishing what IG wants. If you're VP, you're kind of okay as well with this. I'm pretty sure they would have liked a better outcome in mid lane, but the side lanes are going as expected. And what it's going to come down to in this game for VP is whether they can force IG into a position where they group up and they can land this RP or Chronosphere. Unfortunately for them, IG's lineup is actually really mobile.
Yes.
And has great potential for flanking. We're going to see actually a gank here on Pasha.
Skewer back, brings the supports with them. The waveform does clip him, and they're going to dive him underneath the tower. Pasha is going to end up going down. Solo's going to come in with the charge, but Bulbaka gets out of range of the tower by using that Blink Strike. 2-1 now. IG starting off pretty strong here with our laning phase. And a strong start in the laning phase is going to mean, as you were kind of referring to, these mobile cores are going to be able to do a lot of split pushing, and VP won't really be able to enact that strong team fight combination that they're hoping for.
I kind of feel like when it comes to the mid-game fights that the VP will want to... Oh, actually, wait a second here. Solo, he really wanted to ward.
And he's going to die for it, and his ward is going to get countered, I'm sure, pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that was just a complete loss there for VP.
I'm wondering how VP are actually going to be able to even enforce this kind of team fight into this lineup. I think they're going to have to settle for one-man Chronos on like the Ember or the Morph.
Yeah.
Or the Omni. I think Omni could be a nice kill as well. But the problem is there's a Vengeful Spirit against their Void. The Nether Swap can be an absolutely crucial ability in this game It's also good against the RP, obviously.
Yeah, same Morphling, they try and go for the Morphling.
Yeah.
Maybe he pops the Morph Strength, right? He's like, he's going good. They're trying to lay into him, can't quite finish him off. There goes the swap. And it feels like this Morphling is just always going to have so much survivability against this whole entire lineup from VP that VP need to get ahead now, right?
Ooh,
maybe
Solo,
this charge.
Could be big. This could be really big.
He's going to go for the DP out. Oh, one shot by Solo. That was a huge kill. Solo picking that one up. No pun intended. He is going to be blocked out here and doesn't have the tangos to be able to eat his way out. He is currently silenced, but that is going to wear out. He can hopefully charge his way out of here, but the nuke damage is going to come in too quick from IG. I like that TP rotation from Burning. They really did need that extra bit of burst damage.
That area he got killed in is kind of the Dota equivalent of a dark alley. He even got backstabbed, so very fitting. Oh, top lane. Omni. There's the solo chrono.
And the charge going to be coming in just as the chrono fades.
Perfect
Solo,
timing.
how'd you time that? Well played by Virtus Pro, putting a stopper in XXS's farm because he's been faring pretty well. They've been trying to shut him down in the laning phase as much as possible, but it's real tough to keep an Omni fully down. Two-man smoke up immediately. These supports going to try and keep up the tempo that they're kind of setting right now. They are going to run into Bobica in a kind of a bad spot. They throw down a ward. They manage to get the dust onto Bobica, but he's got XXS nearby. They force a rotation out of Q, and I think they can call that maybe a minor win as long as their ward didn't actually get scattered out.
It's good enough, at least, to force a rotation. They know that the farm is going pretty well. I really like VP trying to kick up the tempo, like you said, and play fast. I think they're identifying that this is the point in time where these movements are most likely to succeed. Just a little bit later when the higher levels of mobility kick in, when Omni Knight maybe has his ultimate or is just a little bit tankier, these plays might fail, especially when Venge is level 6. The Nether Swap, once again, I think is going to be crucial in this game for IG's ability to counterplay. And let's try to look at this from a bit more from IG's perspective rather than how BP try to find team fights. So for IG, they obviously have the Riki to try to set up a fight. They have the catch of the Ember. Oh, Lil will
dive deeper into the trees.
Out. He's just fine. When it comes to their setup, what they need to be careful with is if they commit in for a kill, they need to keep trying for this flank play because Ember and Morph both want to come up close. But that is what gives the opportunity for VP for that great counterplay. We saw their play with the Darkseer, for example, yesterday, where they took advantage of the enemy running multiple cores coming in close. IG not the highest range lineup in that sense, so they need to be a bit careful with that.
Charge onto Bobica. Solo cancels it, though. Again, the presence of the Omni Knight really preventing the faster pace that VP want to be able to attend to. That's the rough part, right? We've got two defensive heroes on the side of IG. And they're giving Morphling a lot of space right now. VP going to commit for this one. This time going on to the Omni Knight. Ramses, again, walking it off.
Radiant's middle tower.
And he did go for that Hand of Midas, so Void will be getting a lot of farm. It's the reason he's currently on par with Morphling, but inevitably, oh, maybe it's not that clear-cut in this game because there's Empower, but Morphling will farm faster than Void in general. Just faster damage output, has a wave clear, higher mobility, but Empower can always swing things a bit. This is an unusual Empower lineup, though. It's only really the Void that benefits. Spirit Breaker, it's arguably a bit of a difference, not too much. Complete garbage on Phoenix, pretty awful on Veno. I mean, really positive here.
Yeah, well, even just I'm going to double down on the negativity real quick. Is Ramsey's probably going to die here. That's a very negative accent for VP. So, 5-3, 11 minutes in. I was going to ask you, how do you feel about the Magnus Void combination? Because I've always looked at Void carry as being a bit lackluster. It always seems to kind of fail when it comes to the damage category compared to all these other safe laners that are being run right now. Do you think the Magnus Empower is enough to kind of pick that one up to make the Void more comparable to, say, like Juggernaut?
Yeah, it is. Empower makes a very big difference for Void. I think that's a great combination, but the problem that these heroes do have instead is that they're very, very ulti-dependent, very long cooldowns.
Nice double slow there. That's going to be able to set up Ramses. He actually managed to get the chrono, not actually hitting the Venomancer, but unfortunately, it also means he didn't hit Bobica. Now the heal comes out. Ramses still full-on committing here as OP has no mana to be able to work with, and a nice RP coming out from our Magnus. holding these heroes in, but it's still a lack of damage coming out from VP. They finally get the nuke damage necessary, and they get Bulbaca in the back line. So he was trying to go for Lil. XXS has overextended himself. He throws down a heal, but there's too many heroes. VP overwhelming IG. IG, we told you. You gotta stay away from these team fights. VP are gonna hit you hard, and that's exactly what they do as they hit the 12-minute mark.
I wonder if Burning had TP on cooldown that whole fight, or if he just decided not to go. I think that is a fight that IG can maybe take with a Morphling rotation, but he prioritized getting the safe lane tower instead here. Might be getting backstabbed though.
Yeah, he
VP
uses
with a good smoke. Oh, he's just gonna get out in time. Very good TP there from Burning. Good read on their movements. But they outnumbered them there, simply. VP were 5 on 4. They landed their team fight spells. I thought IG would have a good chance of escaping that with a great smoke screen from Bulbaca, but VP getting the favorable trade overall. Losing the tower is not great, obviously, but they got a, was that 4-for-1 fight? I think that's good enough.
Does seem like
is getting dangerously far.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like this is going to be one of those games where it's going to all come down to Burning, right? It's a favorable lineup for Morphling to be able to play against, and he seems to be the one who's going to be getting all the farm. A rather large lead between him and their second place, and OP currently sitting at 3,900. So Burning, he's going to have to do some heavy lifting later on to this game, but when we hit the kind of 20-25 minute window, it seems like VP are going to be utterly dominant, as many of their heroes are going to kind of come online at that point, right? We have the big team fight ultimates, our supports are very powerful at that point in time as well, and it's right before the Morphling really becomes that big shotgun hero.
It is still a bit concerning for VP that I feel like every time I start saying something again, every time...
Syndred, stop talking! You're killing VP all the time. Come on, dude.
And, alright, who's getting jumped? Nobody? No. When I start sentence? No? Still? Okay, excellent. So, VP's... the thing I'm a bit concerned about for them is their pretty limited physical damage. Void with Empower, of course, will be something, but for now it's not that great. So, a repelled hero...
Syndred, stop talking, man! You're gonna kill him! Poor Q! He's gonna go down inside the Chronosphere.
Well, this time we killed IG.
Yes, that's true.
No bias here.
Unbiased caster, Synderen.
Okay, let me see if I can
Continue.
finish this point really quick. So Void has fairly low physical damage at this point in time, which means the repel is extremely powerful. So yes, IG needs to be careful, but at the same time, a repelled Ember is a very difficult kill for Virtus Pro. Even with the big ultimates, they're going to try for Burning here.
Burning is going to be starting more to strength and makes his jump away. Again, lack of control without those really big teamfight ultimates in RP or Chronosphere.
I still think this is okay for VP to go for. I don't think they were really expecting to kill him. They just want to put pressure and force Burning away and limit his farm. And this is costing him quite a bit. He used all of his mana to morph to strength TP out and use waveform. You know, he kind of has to slowly walk back to base or TP. It's an option. But
so you were saying VP just need to be aware of that kind of power spike where the Ember Spirit, like he's a super powerful hero when it comes to skirmishing, and he has the repel to be able to work with, so he can kind of dive in fearlessly in some ways against this lineup. Still has to be aware, of course, of the Chrono and RP.
Yes. That's the whole point, right? Is that if he gets RP'd with a repel on, it's not actually a guaranteed kill.
Yeah.
If the repel timing is good enough. There's currently only level 1 repel, so the window of opportunity for IG to take that kind of fight is very minimal. But when it reaches level 4, and maybe Ember gets a Blink Dagger, he can actually go in. And they repel him, he jumps, and he starts the fight. VP have to respond with big ultimates because they don't really have anything else, right?
A little bit of heal is going to be just enough. Bulbaca, he sees him for a moment, but now it's going to be far too late. Solo's healed up enough, and Bulbaca realizes that he's just going to TP away.
Very nice play from Lil there, coming in to save. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, our Phoenix does feel like a hero that's hard to make work in the laning phase, but we're finally getting into that level 7. We have the ultimate to be able to combo with the Chronosphere if necessary, so we do have a lot of magic damage that is going to be laid into these big-time disables.
Burning is going to get his Lincolns from this ancient stack that they have made for him. And let's talk Lincolns for a moment. What counters do they actually have? They don't really have anything. So it will absorb either Charge or Nether Strike, both really high impact abilities. It's going to allow Burning to split push a lot safer, since if they actually can't proc his Lincolns, they can't get that jump with the Charge at all because it will be telegraphed, right? The Lincolns will just proc and he will know that Spirit Breaker was trying for it. They might need to itemize something for this. That is kind of an issue for VP.
Let's talk about the Morphling in a different light, though. We do have Mana Burn, always really good versus Morphling. If our Void goes into that Manta Diffusal build, do you think that is actually going to be enough to solo kill the Morphling inside that Chronosphere? You know, he's going to be morphed into strength, but you're burning his mana at the same time. You feel like Void can actually carry enough to kind of serve as a counter to this Morphling?
Just flat out in isolation, a one-on-one?
Yeah.
I don't think he will kill him one-on-one like that. There's a bit too much mana. There's so many factors coming into play, though. Like, does he have a replicate out when he gets jumped?
Right.
Does he have absolutely full mana? Because then he might be able to get one waveform up. Oh, Bobaca's getting charged here. I started talking, sorry, Cap. He's going to die.
Holding on to that ultimate for the last second. Tries to dodge as much as he can. Oh, he actually jumps over Ramses as Ramses' time walks over, so Bobaca's good.
Just kidding, he's not going to die.
Oh, you chronosphered him! Synderin, come on! They were going to let him go. You started talking. They said, oh, well, since talking, we're going to chrono. Solo chrono Bobaca.
Is my voice that bad? Is it just infuriating?
I've never met a
just get aggressive?
bigger caster's curse than you, son.
Thank you. I'm the best.
7-9.
I do think it's a valid point, though, to talk about the Manta Diffusal. I imagine that will be the build of Ramses here to try to deal with the Morphling. But there is, again, Nether Swap is really the ability to keep an eye out for, because if in some fights IG can trade a Chronosphere for a Venge Death, that can often be worth it, especially when Vengeance Aura hits higher levels.
Right.
He'll transfer the Aura over, he will keep his carry safe. And with Chrono down, if they use it only on the Morphling, I think IG can win fights almost 4-on-5. So that is something to keep an eye out for as VP. And another thing, that we haven't talked about too much. I think when you're playing against Phoenix, you need to consider how do you deal with the Supernova. Like, do you have tools to destroy the egg? IG, not too great at it, but Morphling eventually in the game gets really good. He has very high agility, has that mobility, and of course the Lincolns that kind of prevents him from getting locked down. So VP, their execution with the Phoenix is very much reliant later on enforcing the Morphling to either be an RP or Chrono, so that's even more pressure on them in their execution. So the ease is not really favoring them in that regard. We'll force the Supernova out here. Bobaca just being super annoying. Oh, no, sorry, not Bobaca. That was actually all OP.
OP, yeah. They had a haste rune in his bottle and they smoked up, and we're looking to be able to force something, again, kind of hitting that timing you were talking about where Ember Spirit's quite strong. They have the Repel to work with him, but VP did manage to definitely dodge that entire smoke setup, and now they're going for a smoke of their own, rotating into the bottom lane as it's being pushed out by our Void. No one really showing, so VP are going to head deeper into the jungle, but IG are grouping up towards the Roshan pit area. They're actually going to try and sneak this one in. The Morphling is pushing out top. He had his replicate inside the pit. Now an RP comes out into the Omni Knight. Looks like they might be able to pick up this quick kill, controlling him. The heal is going to come off. The repel's down, and they give up on it immediately. VP can't even get that kill onto XXS, and now IG actually see the opportunity to go in. RP's down. They're going to be able to pick up the Magnus. They put a hold on Roshan for the time being to be able to take away that offlaner's life, and going to head right back to the pit now.
With RP on cooldown, this is pretty difficult. They're going to try for OP here. I think he should be just fine.
He's pretty slow. His Remnant is not going to go too far, but VP not willing to commit the Chronosphere.
It's still distracting IG quite a lot. They tried to come in to help OP, so this Roshan's being delayed a lot. That should give VP a little bit of a chance. Supernova will still not be online, though, but they've managed to scare IG away, so nice bit of aggression there in the mid lane onto OP. VP might have had an idea that Rosh was going on and just tried to get whatever pressure out they could. Now might see another smoke. There are 5 heroes gathered here on the high ground, waiting for Ramses to be done with his Ancient's business.
We've got many of their...
No smoke, actually. They're just going to run in.
Oh.
And they will see that. Nice. There's a half HP Rosh. Why don't we just do this?
They do have a Bobaca replicate. So an Invis replicate with the Morphling operating on. They do see all of this.
I think VP can be happy they didn't place a sentry. This could have been, they might have been baited into using 1 or 2 key abilities on that illusion, like a Nether Strike.
Right.
But not happening in that instance. So, slowing down a bit once more. Ramses is actually ahead of Burning on net worth. The Midas coming into play here. He is getting out-farmed in terms of CS. He's 20 behind. But the Midas value definitely showing with him power.
Absolutely. He's closing in on that Diffusal Blade. pretty fast. No one's got himself a Hanamitis as well as a Hurricane Pike. At what point in time does this Veno start working towards the Blink Dagger Ags build?
I'm wondering if that's even the build he's going to go for.
You think it's more right-click oriented?
Yeah, it's a possibility at least that he could try for more of a combat build. When you go Pike first like this, I know you want the Force Staff against Ricky, but the fact that he's upgrading it into Pike is more of a stat-heavy focus rather than the magic damage focus. So curious to see what he buys here. He does have 2300, so could buy the Blink if he wanted to. Holding on to his gold for now.
Being scouted by the Venge, but it looks like IG are just going to be giving it up. Roshan will be claimed by Virtus Pro. Charge onto mid lane. Looks like they're actually still going to be able to pick up the pickoff on Q as well. Being burned up by the Phoenix. Pasha comes in to finish him off, and VP, well, they're set up as 5. They just picked up the Aegis. Might as well push down mid.
Using the strength of their 5-man lineup. I think IG know Roche is going on, but don't feel confident to fight in that space. It's a lot harder for them to set up a flank play around that pit area, and they do show respect to the superior team fight of VP's lineup. Also, the Morphling was that close to E-Blade. Maybe, you can give them the first Aegis, try to slow it down a little bit still, and then play around this Ethereal Blade. There will be some great kills. Cast range is prioritized for Veno.
Completely right. We've got a Maelstrom for the Venomancer, so he's going to turn into a right-clicker, and why not,
Makes it
right?
power better.
Yeah, you've got all these good holding abilities in the Chronosphere and the RP. Might as well make the most of it with your Venomancer. Turn him into more than just an R button.
Robok is sitting on no one right now. Eyes on him. He might actually go for him together with OP if they're feeling lucky here. That could be a kill. Q is joining as well, but they feel like there's backup from VP. No one is actually completely alone, and this would be a kill if they were to go.
I am very much surprised that VP are just leaving him out there. Hurricane Pike being used. No one is going to pop that ultimate out. Looks like he's going to take out from the urn. And the charge across the map is coming in from Solo. Is going to be able to hit Q before the magic missile can come out, which means Nether Strike going to follow it up. And we'll have a 1-for-1 trade-off. But it looks like, oh, Solo, that's a lot of damage already from Burning. Burning's not going to commit, though. A little bit too afraid of reinforcements from the side of VP. Obviously still a big win, though, for IG, being able to take out a core of VP and force out that ultimate.
He saw the rotation of Void on the ward Burning. He might have committed for that Spirit Breaker kill. But as you said, a 1-for-1. Man, X success on Omni Knight is like... You know, if you go back just a month, you would feel like, what is happening with Omni Knight right now? It's actually kind of being played like Spectre. You're just farming. Oh, well, the Midas Spectre wouldn't go for, but you're kind of like, oh, I'm just going to farm a little bit. Then I'm going to go to this other lane and farm. Maybe Spectre isn't the best comparison. Maybe actually the Morphling is a better comparison. You go and split push one wave. Oh, now I'm done with that. I'm going to go to this other wave or just stand in this lane, be annoying until they try to gank me, and then they can't, and then I go away.
It's like I always compared it to, we created this build for the Abaddon.
Yeah.
Right, where we had Midas and Radiance, and then people are like, well, what if I can play other heroes this way, you know?
What if I could make every hero Alchemist?
Yeah. All of a sudden, running puck off lane with Radiance. Bulbica gets burned out here.
No one.
Oh, that's almost enough to finish him off again. Burning, not really committing. He's just always poking. He is making sure that he never gets caught here. Bulbica going to stop that Nether Strike coming out from Solo. They still have him in range of the Sentry, though. Slowed down by the Purge. Ramses commits one of those charges to make sure they get that kill. VP, I'm kind of surprised. They picked up that Aegis, and I thought, okay, we're going to be like 5-manning down tier 2s and stuff. But they've actually been playing this a lot more on their side of the map. Very farmy. Seems like VP are actually content to kind of push this 35, 40, who knows how late.
The wave push of IG is a problem. It's a bit difficult for VP to go down a lane and just feel like, okay, we can just take this tower at no cost. There's a Morphling, there's an Ember. They will be split pushing your lanes all the time. The Travels an Ember and the Morphling with Replicate can set up this type of game that IG want to play where they get to choose what fights they get into. However, the Spirit Breaker of Solo has really been the important factor for VP in that regard. He has set up every single kill for their team. He has 100% kill attendance. He's 3-3-9 right now, so exceptional game from the Spirit Breaker so far. And a hero we haven't really seen too much apart from against Ricky. We're showing why here. It is good against Ricky early on.
VP finally get their side lanes in a place where they feel comfortable pushing down mid. Pasha does have an Invis rune and is kind of scouting some of these heroes. waiting for an opportunity to get that RP skewer back. While Ramses deals with the tier 2. You could see IG, I think they made this read against Liquid very well. They saw like timings and they just said, okay, this is where we're going to avoid fights. And that's why I like the very conservative play of Burning, where he brings these heroes super low, but he just doesn't actually follow it up, because if Burning goes down, right, then VP all of a sudden they feel comfortable just 5-manning into towers, as you were talking about, right? It's the Morphling that really represents a threat on the side lanes in those tier 2s.
On the other hand, though, VP finally just managed to set up a push. It is possible for them to get it. They got the side lanes far enough out that they felt like they could go for this tier 2. But as you said, maybe not the highest value ever from an Aegis. They got one tier 2, I think, with it only. So couldn't really guarantee themselves a tier 3 into Shrines, which you would like to do at this stage in the game when you have your Aegis, but sometimes it's just not possible. But Ramses is still getting so damn rich. Like, it's actually crazy. He's still 3,000 gold ahead of the split-pushing Morphling. The Empower and Midas, once again, just doing so much work. And I love this item. He went for the Blink Dagger on Void. I think way too often not picked up. I think in almost any role, Void should get this item at some stage in the game, simply because of the way it allows you to take fights. Immediate Supernova, though.
OP, he's going to commit here, but Ramses is in the neighborhood. IG, again, making that read that they shouldn't stick around near the Supernova in case of the Chronosphere, but it looks like OP may still be caught here. Ramses is going to be diving on him. Q's going to be caught as well. Now the skewer back on the XXS is going to be able to get that additional kill. VP, once again, bringing 5 very quick to the battle. Outnumbering Virtus Pro. And with those 3 lives down, are they actually going to go high ground here and see if they can force something? 40 seconds until OP's back up. Bobaca's actually trying to get a quick kill onto Lil. Lil turns around for a moment. Just one hit, it's all that's left. He turns around, throws it out. Bobaca's trying to get to him. He gets out the urn, but it's a friendly urn, so Lil will stay alive.
And now Burning is 1 on 5. No chance at all of defending. There will be a buyback from Ricky. They'll try to slow down VP and maybe cancel TPs if they can, as Burning is trying to trade at bottom. VP don't seem too phased, though. They're TPing back the Veno only.
Smoke screen will
now finally
help
Phoenix
defend.
as well. Yep, but this is still Rex. Good split from VP, sending the correct resources back to still get the barracks. And they'll probably just let Ramses finish this one off as well. Nope. Showing some respect here to the opponents, backing off.
Man, Burning actually dropped kind of low there. Morphing all that strength. The Phoenix burning him away with the percentage.
He did get the tier 3 bottom, so has opened up Shrines and the split push possibility that if VP try again, next time they need to worry about barracks. That might change their judgment in the situation a bit, but so far so good for VP. This time they got the big fight that they've been looking for quite a while.
I think what I love that VP has done is they just continue to farm this whole entire time, and just kind of knowing that eventually that opportunity is going to present itself. I think too many other teams would be like, guys, we got to force this, and be too active in looking for kills. VP, they've been playing it kind of slow and safe, and just kind of confident that their lineup is going to work out for them at some point in time. IG will make a mistake. They're not perfect.
By the way, the play from Lil there with Phoenix to instant Supernova was really great. A lot of players in this position will try to get the Fire Spirits out, try to, slow the attack speed first before they Nova. But he knows that if he gets the Supernova off, he won't die. Morphling is bottom, and if the other heroes commit for the Supernova, it gives them the perfect chrono. At the same time, it was a great read from IG to not commit on that Supernova. So good play from both sides, but at the end of the day, IG stick around to try to help their Ember too much and end up paying 3 heroes instead of just the 1. They could have cut OP there and probably defended their barracks.
And that's also in part to Ramses' Blink Dagger, which you just picked up. You said that's a great item. He immediately shows it off, and being able to pick up, just chase down these heroes nice and fast. Like, he was the one who immediately threatened OP after he jumped away. Managed to blink on top of him, then time walk into the pit afterwards. Oh, cute. Runs a little bit too close to VP's smoke. That pickoff isn't the biggest thing in the world for VP. It's a little something for them to be able to work with. IG are still playing the split push game, though, at the top lane. They've got to address that.
I think IG are happy that it was their Venge that got caught. They lose a core to that smoke, that could get really, really nasty. But another good move from VP.
Even Bobaca would be worth a lot more than Q. 150 gold for our Phoenix. Again, all these Hannah Midases and the GPM talents means that VP are not going to be falling off anytime soon.
And you can see the score.
Oh, Chronosphere. They saw that opportunity with Sleight of Fist to be able to lay down the Chronosphere, and as he comes back from the Sleight of Fist, stuck immediately. That is a big pick off that VP really needed. Now, they've already taken the mid lane, so it looks like they're going to back up and again deal with the side lanes. Bottom lane is currently being pushed out by Burning. Unfortunately, the charge is just not quite there fast enough to catch Bobica.
And that play from Ramses is 100% a play on the Venge Death. He knows that if he gets the Chrono, it is a kill. In a lot of other situations of that type, he won't go for the Chrono because it can get turned around on them, but it's a zero-risk play that is just immediately going to give them a big kill. So another nice movement from VP, and we really haven't seen too much success for IG in the last 10 minutes. Nothing is really coming together. The first couple of fights that they got outnumbered have really hurt them a lot, and there's a lot of a catch-up to do here for the IG side. A lot, as you said, will be down to Burning. I feel like more than he would like. Kind of has this game on his shoulders, and this Omni Knight is really rich, but we're not really feeling his impact in the game.
No, we're certainly not. I mean, he's kind of more Bobica. Threw down that ultimate. Now going to be charged up, though. VP, there is a Roshan up, too, and that seems kind of inevitable that VP's going to be able to take it. How do IG, they're already kind of sitting in the backseat of this game. They can't really determine where this game's going. How do they kind of react to a Roshan attempt from VP? Is it just still playing out that split push and hoping just to buy enough time?
I think so. Taking a 5-on-5 in the pit is going to be very, very difficult. If the game was even, I think they could try for it with, you know, some flanking plays. Maybe the Ember can get a good slight change and they can E-Blade a key target in the beginning of the fight. Yep. Like killing off the Venno before he gets anything off, or even the Spirit Breaker or the Magnus, just any of these heroes, but doesn't really seem too likely. Killing off the Phoenix with E-Blade will be impossible as he has the Supernova and, of course, the Hype completed on Lil, so way too tanky. And in my opinion, IG just make the right call here. That is not possible, especially not 4 and 5. Smokescreen is a way too big part of their team fight.
So they're going to be banking on what is kind of an inevitable high ground defense. I don't think IG is going to be able to split push enough to force VP to never use this 5-minute Aegis window. Riki is getting closer on that Diffusal Blade. That's a significant damage upgrade. IG really could use a lot of those upgrades as it's feeling like there's too much forced on Burning. Hell, even our OP's Ember Spirit looks pretty lackluster at this point now that he's facing up against a Pipe. His magic damage is going to look pretty weak.
And he has a pretty peculiar item build as well.
Yeah,
he's got that casual plunge boost Chrono on Creep Wave.
That is a replicate.
And a replicate. Got it. But yeah, OP, it looks like he was considering a Skadi at some point. I don't know why else he would buy this plunge boost, but changed into a Mjolnir. Might just play into that whole all-in Morphling style that he will maybe Mjolnir the Morphling instead of himself. I'm not sure. I'm not really seeing it. Well, it could, of course, also be an Octarine core build. It's just like buying this point booster in the first place is just a bit strange if you don't want to go for the Octarine. But he changed his mind. So absolutely, Octarine was the choice. Skadi is a bit of an old build on the Ember.
Yeah.
Embers used to go Skadi as their tank item, but nowadays it's more popular to go for the Shiva and the heavy armor build with the armor talent as well.
Pretty much once we changed over to the focus on Ember Spirit being that magic damage dealer early on rather than the Sleight of Fist hero, but here in this game, it's obviously going to go late. They already have to deal with one lane pushed in. They do need to plan out for a second lane being pushed in as well, so Ember Spirit going more of a Sleight of Fist high ground defense build with the Mjolnir.
He is going Skadi. Ah, gotcha.
I fell for that one, so I'm not going to lie.
That's, yeah.
I was about to call you a genius. I was like, God damn, Sin, you're so ahead of the meta.
Yeah. No, I'm actually behind it.
Storing up that Blink Dagger for the time being. Our Void looks real big with that Skadi, the Aegis in hand, but again, VP always have to address something. You can see the bottom lane being pushed out by OP right now. They are constantly using the Omni Replicate to push out mid too.
Interesting for Pasha as well that he's going Greaves on the Mag now. This is where we usually see Refresher as the prioritized item for Magnus, but they might just want the Greaves to be able to get out of slight range for the Mag perhaps. And obviously the armor is nice for the team, the heal. I'm currently just listing everything that Guardian Greaves does.
Q. Gonna be caught by the charge here. Hits the magic missile. Can he get out of range? No, he cannot.
Nice
Force staff. still hits the Nether Strike, and they couldn't stop burning, but at least they do pick up that support.
Burning is still accomplishing what he wants right now, just buying time and forcing VP around the map. Curious to see what his next item is going to be. So he currently is sitting on the Treads Travel. The Mantalinga E-Blade, pretty standard stuff from him. The next slot for Morphling generally goes to Butter or Skadi, not Octarine. That's an Ember build before you suggested Cap. It's his item. OP actually changed his mind again. I'm done. He went to Link.
This is just not your game, Sin.
Whatever, man.
All right, VP are coming in for a push. They the top lane has a tier 2. So even if that was being split pushed by IG, if the Morphling was threatening, they'd say, go ahead, take that tier 2. We're going to take a second lane of Rax here. So IG, they need to formulate some sort of defense. And between the pipe, between the Guardian Greaves, it's not even like we can see a potential fast pickoff. You know, I'm failing to see how this Morphling is going to be able to output enough damage to be able to get that quick kill that forces VP away from the push. But apparently the top lane push was still enough. The tier 2 died. They didn't feel comfortable with that looming threat in the top lane to force bottom, so they back off.
Oh, this is a big item. I think this might be the first time we see this tournament. The Omni Knight going for the Scythe of Ice. So now they have a secondary type of lockdown against the Void. I don't think there's any Lotus Orbs on the horizon for the Dire team. Indeed not. The Spirit Breaker going into Vlad's has the Glimmer. Does anyone really want to buy one? Veno is building Lincolns. They're probably just going to drop that on the Void on every push and then letting him go. In my mind, VP might be showing a bit too much respect there. I actually think this is where you continue the push with Void alone, and if he dies, you have the Aegis and you try to set up the team fight. It could have gone wrong, but I can't believe I'm saying this about VP, but I feel like they're a bit too conservative in that play.
I was going to say the same thing. It seems like the patience that was a virtue in the first 30 minutes of the game, and eventually they found that window. It seems like that patience is now kind of stalling out the game more than necessary. IG, they've taken that top lane was being threatened. If they get another tier 3, then more Raxes are being threatened, and next thing you know, you've got IG kind of always putting some sort of pressure, and you never feel comfortable going high ground.
And the thing about this whole push is, right, the mid lane, they've already taken Rax, and that wave was pushing pretty well. If the Void goes in and starts hitting the tower and a bad fight breaks out, absolute worst case scenario for VP, if they just play it right, is that Void loses the Aegis and dies again. That's the worst thing that can happen, which is very unlikely, but could happen. He will probably get at least the tier 3 for that and use the Aegis instead of having it fire. More than likely, if they play it well, there won't even be a problem. And now they're going to go for the push again, but this time without the Aegis, so now they're actually risking it a lot more.
That top lane is only about halfway through, though.
They have good lane positioning, birding. Can't really do too much just now. He has a replicate ready in base. It's going to jump to it already. They want to be in completely perfect position before this even breaks out.
See how they set this up? They've got a very wide spread of heroes right now. Solo going to kind of start off a charge there, just kind of poking at them. Pops Samantha as Burning throws out that nuke. It looks like they're just kind of chipping away at that tier 3. Slowly but surely, they will get it with these wards. And IG, they don't really want to go outside of their base. They want to maintain this high ground advantage that they've got, but it is going to cost them the tier 3 in the process.
And I think VP can keep going here. Just keep placing these Plague Wards. Burning is the only hero who can really clean them up, but he doesn't want to get in that position. So slowly but steadily, they're dealing damage. Breaks the Lincolns there. OP gonna go in.
Jump in.
Haha. Just kidding.
Again, a little bit of a poke to see what VP do. Maybe they can force out a reaction. Pasha actually blinks away before the magic missile. Ramses jumps in with his blink dagger, but doesn't see the setup for Chronosphere. IG very responsive to VP as they make their initiation in. But again, they're losing a lot of ground here. The melee Rax is going to go down soon. They now pop the Supernova. IG not going to address it. Actually getting caught inside the Chronosphere are Burning, but Ramsey's actually rooted up at the time, so he wasn't able to deal any damage during that time. Now IG, they see an opportunity. Chronosphere's down. They're going to try and catch whatever heroes they can with that side device. They managed to pick up Lil, but he got his dive away just in the last second. No one actually managed to TP out as well. And the only hero that goes down is the Magnus. I thought for sure with that Chronosphere down, okay, they're still going to be able to get Lil at least, but no real big heroes. You know, they didn't get the Void, they didn't get the Venomancer. Those are the two higher net worth heroes. So in many ways, VP kind of got that melee Rax for free.
The mag death is pretty significant because he doesn't have buyback, but I don't know if they have good enough lane position at all to even make it to the Dire base. It doesn't look like it. Roche can't spawn either, unless they get really lucky. They don't. So 2 minutes on him. IG are checking it, but no luck.
At this point, Sin, can IG really continue to just play high ground defense? Kind of feels like they need to go out and force the fight. You know, one more of those pushes, and then you've got your last melee Rax down. And then it's just range tracks, as those are inevitably going to be chipped away. Mega creeps are inevitable.
It's kind of close to a really big spike for OP. I think you can play for this Octarine plus level 25 and take it from there. I think the high ground fights are still possible. More than anything, I think this is the Roche they can't give away. I think you have to be set up for this one, get good vision, push out your lanes, take advantage of your still great split push to deal with these other 2 lanes that you currently are Rexed in to be able to contest there. And you know, this is definitely not the position IG want to be in. They're still very far behind. I actually think this is the first time I've ever seen a Veno with more net worth than a Morphling in a Free Fire Morph game, more or less. So VP definitely have the tools and a lot of money going their way. So big advantages. And I think the Aegis is the nail in the coffin. You saw this fight from VP. Actually, they did do it without the Aegis that time. Next time with Aegis, it's not going to just be Rex. It's going to be game. So looks like IG have identified that and will be sticking around this Roche area with their Riki. No, he's actually has backed off entirely. But you can see the pings from Q. He keeps saying, we have to get here. We have to get this control.
VP are currently smoked up for it. So 30 seconds left until Roshan's actually up. VP going to kind of check in the pit. Currently, they're trying to push out, see if they can find somebody, some sort of pick. If they run into Bobaga, for example, they can get the gem back into their hands that they lost when the Phoenix went down. But a smoke up from IG is actually going to run into solo here. Bobaga immediately pops his ultimate. He was a little bit afraid for his life. Signs go down. Looks like they might be able to blow up solo here inside. A little bit more damage. No, actually pops the ultimate in the back lines, but it didn't really catch a whole lot. Ramses comes in, looks for the Chronosphere. Q managed to get the stun on him first. There goes the Sai swap right as Pasha attempts the RP. Holding on to it though. The 2 big team fight ultimates still not being used. They're just going to try and right click down this support with the Supernova. The 2 cores of IG, OP and Burning, they're still playing around the edges of the map. And that's why VP were not willing to use those big ultimates just yet.
Ramsey's got the kill on bench, so he's currently carrying the negative Vengeance aura. Will slow him down quite a bit on this Roche attempt. And I don't think IG are going to let them just have this. I would be really surprised if they don't look to contest at all.
Well, it's going to go down fast. They are not making the rotation.
Venge being dead might just scare them off because they don't have this chrono counter now. They still are making a move toward it. This could get scary for VP. But
Burning, he's going to be the last one there.
Get it in time, I think.
Jump in, slide a fist, but okay, the age is already picked up, so this fight is going to see a little awkward for IG now. Looks like they're just trying to make an escape here, but with the level 25 picked up by Ramses, he's got that huge time walk. He's going to be able to catch XXS here, burns him out. Big hero. That offlane hero is supposed to be able to help defend both the Ember Spear and the Morphling, so VP are going to force it. They're going to force the buyback out of XXS.
And he wasted his Guardian Angel on that Diffusal Blade of Ramses, so won't even have that for this fight.
And to dodge, OP is going to try and jump in, though. Ramses actually gets the 2-man Chronosphere. Where's the swap? They're going to throw it down. Help save Burning's life, and it's going to cost Q his own. Burning comes back in. Ramses doesn't really give a damn, though. He stands and fights. But it looks like they forced out that buyback as needed. They still have their Magnus dead, so VP, they kind of got everything they wanted out of that.
They are so close to a big Game 1 win here. And the game, honestly, hasn't really felt that close. They've just been making the better moves. IG have been waiting for a moment that never really happened. And it is a drafting thing, you know. IG's lineup, it's hard to play it any different from this. But it's just been very composed and very well planned by VP on almost every single move, so that the costs have been minimal of all of these rotations that IG have been going for to try to set up skirmishes. Just haven't been successful for a very long time. I think, have they got 4 kills in 30 minutes now? I think it's almost nothing. And that's with an E-Blade Morph. You pick this item up to kill heroes.
Yeah.
Not to farm.
This feels very reminiscent to the way that teams started adapting their playstyle against the Alchemists. You know, we used to have this idea that Alchemists, like, okay, this is a timing window. You need to be super aggressive, but we saw the Chinese teams, they slowed things down a lot. They picked up Handamitises, they picked up scaling cores, and they just kind of sat back. It feels like the same kind of thing coming out from VP. Yes, it's a Morphling, but they seem to be content to just kind of slowly choke out the map, continue to make sure all of their supports as well, their cores, are getting a significant amount of farm. Ramsey's jumping forward there.
Faded him, Mjolnir and Repel.
Got him.
That's actually pretty significant to bait those two abilities, to be honest. Here we go.
Ramsey's. Now he makes his jump in and smoke screen, swap back there. Ramsey's deeper inside the base. He's going to be able to get the Chronosphere. Catches 3 this time around, all 3 of the cores, and that's going to be Burning going down first. OP as well is going to fall, and he does not have buyback, and neither does XXS. Oh, Ramsey's right on top of him. They're going to be able to finish him off. Posh in the back lines finally gets out the RP. It's on a support, but it doesn't matter. VP, they are overwhelming IG with pure numbers, and IG are going to call it. It felt like this was coming. This VP win, they were choking out IG for so long, making very little mistakes, no real positioning errors. They never let IG find a